It never matters how long it takes you. And you will think, takes you to do what? It never matters how long it takes you. And I will tell you that it never matters how long it takes you to recognize your importance, the reason that you're alive, your soul's mission, your divine plan, what you are here to do. And I will tell you, you're probably feeling like you're supposed to do it today. You may have thought that your life was accidental, that you shouldn't have been here, or the world was accidental or was falling apart. None of those things were true. The world was just waiting for you to recognize your importance and fulfill your potential. You know, that thing you've always heard all of your life, fulfill your potential, and you've questioned what that was. And you're probably looking at maybe your life or the world and you're thinking, is it worth it? Should I do it? And that's fear talking to you. Because fear is the thing that will hold us back. It'll keep us from not owning who we are, not recognizing that importance and why we're alive. And we might think it's all accidental, but that's not true either. Everything is energetic, everything is aligned, and you are meant to be here now, and your importance has never been more valuable than what it is on this day, on the 26th of September. And I can say that because I was given the order through Wilhelm. And that's what I wanted to show you today, because I had to accept myself. And that's been a real challenge, and probably might have been for you as well. But that was my role, to help you accept yourself. We each have a role, a plan, a purpose, that soul's mission, however you think of it. That's how I think of it. And then when you see it, and when it's been proven to you, you can't unsee it. I mean, and that's a higher level of consciousness, and we're all capable of reaching that. Everyone won't, but we are capable. And that's the thing that I was meant to demonstrate. And I lived my life, obviously, to prove it to everyone, because my life is really challenging. It was difficult. I've gone through all the difficult things that you're experiencing now. And I can say that I'll be 75 November 2nd, and I can own that now, where I used to hide from that age. I said, no, I'm going to be proud of this, because I shouldn't have been here. I should have been dead many times, and I couldn't figure out why that didn't happen. You could have had that as well. And you could have gone through so many challenging, horrible things to only come to today and recognize it was worth it, because you're that valuable now. And now you understand who you are. And it was a journey, and it was a journey that you went through every single day and every single year. Now, what happened for me is that Wilhelm explained it to me and gave me the information year by year. And that was the thing that was difficult for me to accept, because it was quite unique and different. No one had ever done it, which is why I used the document I gave you the other day called Unprecedented, because it never happened before. But you've never happened before either, and that's why this time could be challenging for you. But what we're meant to do is uncover this human condition that we're all living in, and then give others information so that we evolve, and so that our planet evolves. But sometimes we become afraid, and then we hold back, and that's what we're witnessing in a lot of people's lives right now, and in our world. And so I decided last night, I knew all of this was going, because Wilhelm told me everything, and I don't see it until I go back and look, just like you don't see who you are until you go back and look as well. So last night I decided, let me sit down and see what they gave me in 2020. I was telling my members last night, I said I could probably write a book just on the information that Wilhelm has given us in 2020, because that's when we all started to feel this change that was happening. We all thought it was just a pandemic. Wilhelm said, no, it's much more than that. The entire world's going to change, and we've given you the information to understand it. Most people looked at me and thought, that doesn't make sense. I didn't believe it either. Just like you haven't believed something about yourself, or that big thing that you're meant to do now, or it looks too grand, or you think you have delusions of grandeur or something like that, or you think you might be an imposter. None of those things are true, because I lived with all of those as well, and Wilhelm broke that down and said, no, That's what happens to many of you. You start to believe in your inadequacy rather than knowing that there are possibilities that are in front of us. And then we start to discover whenever we live, we understand how we evolve. Many people, I've talked about this, when I talked about Carl Jung, because he came in and talked about synchronicity. Well, Wilhelm showed me the same thing and showed that everything is in alignment. And they gave us a new philosophy called Your Life Operating Instructions, because we were moving into a place of too much separation and anger and hatred and all of that. And so they said, you can change that if you decide to love yourself. It has nothing to do with what's happening with anyone else. It's only about you deciding to love yourself and do what you came to do. We'll come into the world and we look at everything around us, our families and all the friends and whatever that might be, and think, am I supposed to be like them? No, you're supposed to be you. And that is the challenge that we each have, and it's very individual. And as we live, many people will discover new ways of doing that. I was putting in some of the Wilhelm information and they started telling me, oh, this is quantum physics. This is the idea of self-actualization. And it's all in there. And I've said this before, but me accepting it, Wilhelm said, we've given you an encyclopedia of self-actualization, personal development, and ascension tools, and you would never finish it. And that didn't make sense to me, but I thought, well, I've been doing it for 36 years, and every aspect of my body has healed, and every aspect of my being is healed. I don't have depression anymore. I don't have fear. I don't have all of those things that I suffered with all of my life. And so I know what you can achieve. And I can say that because I do know. There are certain times where people will give you information that's theoretical. They say this might work, that might happen. This was different. I know. And that was the thing. So I told my group last night, I was watching Carl Jung and an interview with him. And somebody asked him, do you believe this? And he sat there and he thought about it for a moment. Then he said, I used to believe, now I know. And that's what I can say to you today as well. Now I know. Because it was surprising to me to discover that I was the person who received this plan that would give you your best life and give us our better world. But I did. And I had to look at that and keep analyzing. I go, well, what would make the world what it could be? When we have really great people. When we have people who are moving through all their generational trauma, who stop fearing themselves, who stop fearing others, who regain their internal autonomy and sovereignty and not stop giving it away to everyone else and become their own government. You think I'm kidding, but that was all given to us. And I'm saying us because I thought at first when I was doing Wilhelm that this was just for me. That's what I thought in 1989. And they said, no, this is different. This is for your world. This is for humankind. And I thought, I can't tell people that. They won't believe me. Now that part was true. People did not believe me because I didn't believe myself. How could I have figured out this organization of the universe? How could I have been given this gift? How could it have caused me to heal? And I'm putting together things that I knew from others like Mary Baker Eddy or Louise Hay and all those people who experienced that, or Nostradamus who had these great predictions of things and then they came true. How could I have been that person? You are that person. We're all that person because we have consciousness. And that was the one thing that Wilhelm said on the very first message they gave us in 2012, which was that pivotal change. Infinite intelligence, we all have it. We just decide how much we're going to access, how much we're going to believe, and how much we're going to integrate into our new selves, which is what we're meant to do now. So as you look at the message for today, it says, never matter how long it takes, you. And that is you to accept who you are. And then as you go through it, because I put this together for you because I want you to have it. It is, and this is so hysterical to me because I was given this a few days ago and I put it down there. And then I get up today and I go, oh, this is incredibly accurate, which is how Wilhelm's work has been the entire time. And I didn't know that. Never matters how long it takes you. However, it does matter whether or not you arrive at your destination, and today many of you will. That destination is the embodiment of your soul's purpose, and today was the day more of you wanted to accomplish that goal. You decided to live through the restructuring of your world, and your guides have been guiding you, and so have we. More of you will hear yourselves and us today. We have given you the information in order of your linear time. And then it takes us back to 2008, and I want you to understand that was a period. You will not necessarily understand the astronomical changes of our world and the energies and how they affect us, but they do. And those are things that we're continually learning as we evolve in human consciousness. The only, and this was in 2008, and it's so, I just want you to get this. It's so surprising to me when I go back and read this and I go, wow, I don't know how that came through. I want you to understand, I developed the ability to make a pure connection with consciousness. And I just have to say that because I didn't understand the information when I first received it, but it got integrated over time. Same thing happens for you. Same thing happens for all of humankind. The only certainty you desired to hold was to know that your life is divinely planned and that it all works out for your highest good. And that's where I am today. I could have never believed that when I received it in 2008. And then I can go to 2009, and I know that I probably didn't believe this either, because I was going through so many challenging, difficult experiences. But it says every single event that shows up in your life experience is for your benefit. I would never think that. But you come to find later that that always turns out to be true when you develop this ability in your consciousness, which is mindset again, to start to navigate your own life journey. Then the next year, your entire physical existence is thought. And we don't always remember that because we're always taken over by something else. Then you go to the next year. The journey is what you always intended to experience with little regard for the final destination, meaning where we are today. Now, all of those things I could have not known I was receiving them, and I could have not known that on the 26th they would have been in an order telling a story, but that's what I received, and that's why this was unprecedented, because no one's done it before, which is why you might have had challenging time understanding Wilhelm as I did, and many people did. No one knew what this was. I didn't know. But that is the beauty of life. We're supposed to develop something new and break barriers, and that's what this was about. So I put together this little document that I want you to have, because if you read it, you will understand Wilhelm gave us understanding of the energetic changes, political, social, all of it was energetic, and they were able to interpret it as the world was changing. And so this one you will love so much because it'll help you and give you a greater sense of peace of what's happening for you and what's occurring in our world, because it looks uncomfortable. Wilhelm said that's not what's happening, though. I will not read the entire document. I just wanted you to see it because I will give you a link to it. I just had them put it together. Wilhelm's philosophy, understanding our global transformation. And for over 3 decades, Wilhelm has communicated profound wisdom through automatic writing, offering guidance that speaks directly to our current moment in history. This channeled entity provides insights into the nature of human evolution, both individual and collective, with particular focus on the transformative period we are experiencing today. Wilhelm's messages began in 1989, but became particularly urgent and detailed starting in 2020 as our world entered what Wilhelm describes as a place of great transition. The timing was not coincidental. These messages were given precisely when humanity most needed to understand the deeper meaning behind our current challenges and opportunities for growth. The Great Restructuring, global transformation. Central to Wilhelm's philosophy is a concept of restructuring, a massive transformation occurring simultaneously on individual and collective levels. This is not merely about political or social change, but about the fundamental evolution of human consciousness itself. And it says, we are moving through a mass restructuring of your world, and the United States will lead the way. Each of you decided to be here during this time to participate, so it aids your individual evolvement. According to Wilhelm, this restructuring manifests in several key ways. Personal integration. Each individual is being called to embrace all aspects of themselves, including those previously denied or judged as negative. Collective healing. Humanity is addressing long-standing divisions based on race, gender, and other artificial hierarchies. Spiritual evolution. A shift from fear-based consciousness to love-based consciousness. Feminine energy balance. The integration of nurturing, empathetic qualities that have been suppressed or undervalued. The role of crisis in evolution. Wilhelm explains that challenges like pandemics, political upheaval, and social discord are not accidents or punishments, but necessary catalysts for growth. These events force individuals and society to confront their limitations and choose who they want to become. You have judged parts of yourself as being wrong, bad, and many other negative things. There are no right or wrong things or things that are good or bad, but only things you assign meaning, which you then use to navigate your life. The United States as catalyst. Wilhelm consistently identified the United States as leading the global transformation, but not necessarily as a positive example, but as a catalyst that forces the world to confront fundamental questions about power, equality, and human nature. The country's fundamental promise of forming a more perfect union remains unrealized, according to Wilhelm, because it must occur first within individuals. The external political and social struggles reflect internal conflicts that each person must resolve within themselves. And then it goes on. You can read so much more of it, and I'll leave the link as I said. But that is showing how they were interpreting everything that was happening. And I had no clue that was occurring. And I created some other documents that you'll be able to read. And I'll leave some links for those because I want you to have the understanding of how important your life is and what you're meant to do now, because now you have guidance. And I can say this openly because I know that it's true. We're looking at the world and thinking it can't be changed. Wilhelm said, yeah, it could, because we've given you all that information. And I've put out those things and I've said those things and I said, I can't really believe that. But they showed every aspect, even the wars. They said these are just long-held grievances that we're still carrying. And our hatred and anger, our prejudices, our judgments are all old stuff. And if we could live in the moment of now, in the present, that's why they said the present is your gift, which is now. And that's what we have. And so now it's all been put into a philosophy. It's been put into a program called Your Last Development Program. Read all the documents because now you can have the life you want to have. That I do know. This work was done so that you could live your best life. And I'm saying you because it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in the world, you're in consciousness, that means that's still a place where you can go if you understand how to navigate your life and move to that higher state. And this is what this work will do for anyone. That's why I said, I put out the other day, I was looking for a marketing person because I said I have something that's so transformational, it'll change the world, but I'm not the person to market it because that's not what I do. I'm finishing this work and finishing what Wilhelm has given me so I can give it to the world, and that will be my legacy. Everyone's not going to believe that, and I've lived it, so I do know, and I can't unsee it and unlive it. And so I don't want you to doubt anything about yourself, and I want you to know, because I do know, that you have been given this wonderful gift to bring to the world now. That's why when I work with someone, my Wilhelm channeling is different than the others because it's time-based, and you'll read that in the articles. When I'm seeing you, I'm connecting with your energetic blueprint that I know has value and worth that we uncover. That's what happens. And now you will understand how brilliant you can become just by going through the messages today, but also the links that I'll leave in this video as well. All right, see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Today is time for you to finally accept who you are meant to become in this life. See you soon.